The next step is that we've got both of these legs done, and we've sewn this inseam, and now our J crotch has turned into a U. And so now we're going to work on this U part of the crotch to sew these two legs together. You need to turn one leg right side out, and you need to turn the other leg inside out, and you should have both these seam finishes done on both sides of this. This nice straight 5/8 of an inch seam pressed open and really flat like this. It's easier to work with if it's flat. Then you're going to take the leg that's right side out with this seam up, and you're going to put your arm in it like a sleeve. And you're going to open your hand up and put this seam right in your palm of your hand, and you're going to grab it with the seam up on the top of your arm. Then this is going to be like a long sleeve shirt, and you're going to act like you're putting it in a coat when you have to put a long sleeve shirt in a coat, and you're going to hang on to it and pull it into the one that's inside out. And with the seam up, you're going to have the seam up on your arm. You're going to pull it in like that, and it's going to have the seam here in your hand and the seam on top, and now you'll see that we've got right sides together. That's what we need. We need the right sides together. We're going to put this seam right on top of that seam, straighten it out, and grab those two seams with your hand and kind of straighten it out. And then you're going to grab it with your other hand and give it a shake, and it's going to match those seams up and match those U's up. So now we have these two U's, and they're almost completely matched up, which is a great trick that makes it go faster. All right, so then we stop at the top of the U, and we put those two corners, one right on top of the other, exactly matching this angle and this angle, so this corner is matching exactly. And you take your pins and you put them in perpendicular to the U. Now we're not going to sew this side up, so don't pin this side. When we pull this out, we're going to have two legs, and this is going to be the waist that we put our legs in when we put our pajama pants on. So make these pins perpendicular. If they're a little off perpendicular, straighten them so that the machine needle can go right over them and you don't break your needle, because you don't want to go to the store and have to buy new needles because you're out of machine needles because you keep breaking them. And that's one of the things that breaks them, is if you don't put those pins in perpendicular to that U, to that seam, whatever seam you're sewing. So after we do that corner, and notice we're not pinning it to this, we're only pinning these two together. Then we're going to pin that triple notch. And we're going to pin that triple notch and put that pin right in there. Then we're coming here to these two seams, and we're going to look at them and lay them right down on top of each other so they match exactly, and pull these nice and flat and put a pin in the far side of that way over to the edge so the machine can't push that. And then we're doing the same thing over here. We're matching it along that edge, laying these down super flat and pinning that exactly. And then we're moving around to the other side, and we're going to pin this corner exactly, making it match on the top and both sides of that corner. Then we're going down to this double notch right here, making them match exactly. And now we've got all the major points pinned, and now we're going to do the easing, and we're going to pin in between here. Now this is laying super flat and even, and you can tell by looking on one side and then looking on the other side, and if it's pulling out, you need to for sure get a pin in there because it needs to stay right together when you move it back and forth. So I'm going to put pins in about every 2 to 2.5 inches. And if I notice any of them that are out of perpendicular, I'm going to straighten them as I'm going. And I'm going to put that one in. And you can do the same kind of thing, middle of the middle. This one's laying really good together, so I'm not having to ease it very much. I'm not having to do the middle of the middle. I can just go down it because I've got them secured on both ends. Then I'm going into this curve. I'm going to pin it, and I'm going every, like I said, about 2 to 2.5 inches. You don't have to measure it exactly, you just need to estimate it. But if you go any farther than that, the machine is going to push the bottom fabric that's closest to the feed dogs through faster than the other side, and you're going to get ripples and tucks and little puckery spots. So you want to pin it enough that the machine can't push it through at different times. Okay, and then we're going to go here. We're almost done. We just have a couple more through this back spot right here. This is the back of your pants on the side of the triple notch. I'm going to put one more, and then I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll be done. So you know yours is going to look the same. So if you can see, there's the legs both inside of each other, and there's the U crotch that I've pinned all the way around, and now we're done with that step, and we're going to go sew.